Good morning and welcome to BrandsNow on Radionow 95.3 FM Lagos. As you know, BrandsNow is all about spotlighting the businesses, the brands, and the individuals that are doing amazing work in the world of entrepreneurship. My name is George Natural Onwara. Welcome to you, and I think it's high time I also said welcome to our guest for today as well. His name is Muyiwa Matuluko. He is the CEO of Business Front and the publisher of TechPoint Africa. Good morning to you and welcome to the program.
Good morning. Thanks for having me, George.
Pleasure. So let's begin from the beginning.
Yeah.
So talk to us about the story behind TechPoint Africa. Why do you think it's actually important to actually tell the stories of those who are playing in the technology space in Africa?
Yeah, I mean, the story started 10 years ago, over 10 years ago now, when the founder, Adewale Yusuf, so both of us had been tech journalists in the space at different publications, and he took a break around that time to go into photography. And when he was trying to research what's going on in the space, he found out that there's not enough. At that time, there are people, not to say that there was no one trying, but there was not enough of people telling local stories of what is happening in our space. So usually you're telling stories about what's happening in Silicon Valley, things that we can relate with. So not enough stories about people that look like us, right? And he said, maybe I can fill this gap, you know, and that's what started it. So the idea was to take technology mainstream with TechPoint Africa. And why it's important, that is why it's important, because when the average youth, average young person can see other people like them, you know, spotlighted, amplified what they are doing, the activities, they feel connected, and, you know, it can inspire them to also innovate. Because even I myself was inspired by that when I was reading stories about founders building apps that had names that were familiar in Yoruba, in Igbo, and like, okay, so we can do something like this. It's not just about people in Silicon Valley. So yeah, that's where it started.
So it's pretty much the story of until the lion learns to write. The story will always glorify the hunter.
Exactly.
So we need to tell our own stories from our own perspectives.
Exactly.
In our own words.
Exactly. Stories that matter.
Absolutely interesting. Now I'm really curious, right? What's the vision behind Business Front? What are you trying to achieve? Where are you looking to get to?
So, you know, like I said, the goal with TechPoint Africa was to take technology mainstream. And I think we did a great job of that. I think we make bold to say we played a major role in that. Everybody that is interested in startups and tech now. But then we realized that it's beyond that, right? Because when you look at markets, mature markets, developed markets, the highest companies with the highest valuation, market capitalization are tech companies, right? But they've gone beyond just being tech companies. They've become platforms. They become enablers. And as much as the innovation that tech startups do is exciting, we know that we need to grow beyond that into building long-lasting businesses. And so that's the idea behind Business Front. So Business Front is a business enablement platform. And we do this by combining media, intelligence, and research, media, intelligence, and data, you know, to enable businesses. And let me paint a quick picture. So let's say, for example, you are a business in Nigeria, you've been running for 10 years, and you're trying to say, okay, which other markets can I expand to? I want to go to Kenya and know what's happening there. You need to know what's happening in Kenya, the news.
True.
Like maybe you're looking to expand into the manufacturing space. You need to know what's going on about the manufacturing space in Kenya. Now, so you need dedicated platforms that are covering what's going on in the manufacturing space, not some, let's not mention names, but some foreign media telling you what's going on, but people on ground telling you what's. So you need publications to give it that. So that's media. Then you need intelligence, like in terms of research, data, you know, the nitty-gritty of what is going on, how much has been spent in that industry, what's this market size and all of that. And then community network, you need to be able to meet people there that will connect you to opportunities there. So that's what Business Front is, you know, becoming like media, intelligence, community network all together, enabling business across Africa.
Very important, absolutely what you're doing, right? Because clearly a person or a business that is informed or better informed will naturally do better in whatever field that they
exactly.
Yeah. But anyways, let's go on to my very next question, really, because we're pressed for time. I really wish this were an hour-long interview, but it's not, unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately.
You know, so we'll make do with the time that we do have. I worry, What do you think really, as far as responsibility, the role that the media has actually played and should continue to play in terms of shaping the narrative of African technology startups and even those who are really very well established? Is it just okay to have African media tell African stories? Can we not also have those from the other part of the world also tell our stories as well?
Yeah, I mean, of course, people will always try to tell our stories. But why it's important for us to tell our own stories is, I always quote Chimamanda Adichie, the famous Nigerian author, say the danger of a single story, right? So there's always the danger in a single story, one perspective. And that's why, for example, I don't know if I'm allowed to mention brands names. You look at what the likes of Al Jazeera is doing for the Middle East, right? So, yeah, you can report about what's going on in the Middle East, but we are going to report it from our own angle too. So you create a balanced narrative. So it's very important for us as African media to also, shape narrative, balance out whatever is going on out there. There's a tendency to focus on negative stories when people are reporting from outside because that's what sells. Okay, can we balance it out with positive stories? Can we balance it out with, sometimes the media can actually drive investment in the industry or a market because they are reporting about the good things that are going on. So why people are telling you, oh, there's nothing happening here, maybe they tell you a country like DRC Congo, there's nothing happening there, but then someone tells you, okay, why you think there's nothing happening there? So people are investing in this space, this is how much has been, and people can decide, okay, I want to invest in that market, and maybe it opens up the markets. And then, because negative stories become like a self-fulfilling prophecy. But then by the time you start to feed in the positive, people start to see opportunities. And those opportunities then, counterbalance or balance out all the negatives. So yes, the media has an important role to play. Also in terms of an informed and educated audience, because if the audience is also informed, businesses can actually do better because your target market is informed, they understand what you're trying to solve, the problem you're trying to solve, they engage with you better. So it's both for businesses, consumers, all around, it's
well, just listening to you talk right now, one of the challenges that I see is that of funding, right?
Yeah.
Because if you talk about an Al Jazeera plus maybe putting it on the same pedestal as one other media house somewhere down here in Nigeria that's not very well known and doesn't have the kind of financial muscle that Al Jazeera pulls is a lot, right? So what are the challenges that you tend to face, and probably those who are also doing the same kind of work that you're doing as well, doing the job, and how can you possibly, or what kind of support do you think that you actually need, maybe from government or, so from some other entity?
Yeah, there's no doubt that the media is facing a funding crisis, especially so in Africa, and it's even because of that you tend to have issues in terms of media independence, because the opportunities for funding are usually not necessarily, they kind of stifle your independence, and it's very important for media to be independent. So it's a serious problem that I and my peers are always thinking about. I can't say I have all the answers, but I mean, we've been doing this for 10 years and we just continue to stay alive and push forward. What we need from government is not funding, for example, because again, there's even the worry that if government funds, then there's the opportunity for independence is lower. So what we need is like an enabling environment. So some ideas that my peers are throwing around, for example, okay, can we have tax benefits or tax breaks for media companies? When we understand that media is for public good, whether or not it is business journalism or public journalism, all journalism is actually important, because even business journalism, like I said, an informed audience, an informed audience, informed consumers always benefits the society. So how can we, tax breaks, tax benefits for media? That's one way that the government can support, right? But then as media companies ourselves, we need to start innovating and figuring out other ways to monetize beyond the usual ways you monetize your audience, you sell your attention. Okay, are there other ways we can monetize? Can you look into memberships? For example, subscription is going to be very hard in a case like Africa. People like New York Times have figured it out. I think it's very difficult in Africa, but memberships, we don't have enough time to explain the difference between membership and subscription. But okay, memberships is one way that we're looking at. What other innovative ways can we? Crowdfunding, crowdsourcing, things like that. Yeah.
You know, well, my next question was really going to be about how you are navigating all of this, and
Yeah.
you've already started answering that, right?
Yeah.
And really, just listening to you alone, I'm seeing even more challenges.
Yes. There will always be challenges.
You know, I mean, talking about subscription and membership and whatnot, and I think this is actually going to mean somebody's going to pay somebody. Right? And how are the people reacting to this? Are they actually receiving this positively in terms of subscriptions, memberships, and whatnot? Or perhaps it's just a Western concept that's not really working out well, given our financial condition generally?
Yeah. So you always have to, like, of course, apply what I call African sense to. And an example I always give, if I can digress a bit away from media, you've heard of the concept of buy now, pay later, BNPL. And a lot of startups in the West are raising money to do that. And BNPL makes sense in a environment that is a credits based, run by credits, and where people are comfortable with credits. But the average Nigerian, average African, maybe, let me say the average Nigerian, we're not very comfortable with credits. We don't like to owe, right? So a platform called CDK, I don't know if you heard about them. You can cut this out if you. They decided to do, instead of buy now, pay later, they decided to do save now. What will I call it? Save now, own, and pay later, something like that. So, other as opposed to credits, you are saving towards owning the thing, and then you receive the value within the half point of your saving, and then you still continue paying. So they kind of, Africanized it. So that's the same way we're looking at it. So subscription, there are people doing subscription in Nigeria and Africa. They're figuring it out. I guess it works for them, but I think it's very hard. But memberships is something that we can do. I mean, Africans in general, we're aspirational, we want to be in similar networks with our peers. Okay, so how can we create membership programs that kind of align with our own goals as media, and then you are, instead of trying to monetize with the general audience, you are monetizing with people with the high purchasing power. They are kind of subsidizing what the other, subsidizing your costs so that you can then, provide enough information for the general public. I know I'm not giving as much detail, but and I'm trying to
understand.
Yeah, keep to time.
Yeah, sure thing. But anyways, while we were talking, more questions were popping in my head. But again, it's a very short conversation. Hopefully, we'll have a longer one, hopefully in the near future. But anyways, let's go on to a question I think it's absolutely very germane, yeah? And that's True Business Front. You run multiple brands beyond TechPoint, right?
Yes.
Interpoint, Finance in Africa, Energy in Africa, and whatnot. How do these platforms essentially complement each other in telling a holistic African business, story?
Yeah, like I said, Business Front is a business enablement platform, and we have 3 core pillars, which is our publication, because information, and then we have intelligence, which is Intel Points, so research and data, and then we have community, which is our Business Front network, which will be launching very soon. And so they complement each other because we have a premise or a thesis by which we approach each of these publications you're seeing. So TechPoint Africa, Energy in Africa, Finance in Africa. Very soon you start seeing other ones like manufacturing, FMCG, real estate, all of these sectors of the society. By the time there's value, we believe there's value in niche media, focus media, where you can understand, go depth. So rather than going wide, the general trend is mass media, go wide. We go deep, right? And attract people in those industries, drive conversations, analyze trends and what is going on in those industries. So people are informed. Then when you're informed, the next thing you want to do is, okay, when you want to take action, you want data that will help you take that action, which is what Interpoint is doing. Okay, recently we partnered with a cross-border trade company called Breeze that analyze trade within Africa, because that's one challenge we have when we're talking about the Africa Free Trade Zone. Okay, what's going on? What are the loopholes about inter-Africa trade? We analyze that. So someone who is now looking to expand across Africa can read that report. Maybe they've read something on energy in Africa, about what's going on in energy in Africa, and they're like, I want to know more about the energy crisis in South Africa. And then there's a report by Interpoint about what is going on there in depth. And then now you want to enter the market. Okay, can I meet anybody there that can introduce me to the network, the Business Front network? So it's like a holistic, interconnected ecosystem that we're trying to build.
Interesting. Now, we really are out of time, but one final question. I'm curious, in 5 to 10 years, where do you see Business Front?
we see business front as, when you think about business in Africa, when you think about doing business in and with Africa, because it's not just people within Africa, we also have people looking to expand into Africa. So when you think about business doing business in and with Africa, you think about business fronts, whether it's the publications that we publish, whether it's our reports, whether it's the network.
There's a young person listening to the radio and watching via social media right now, and they're possibly looking to toe the line that you have toed and you are currently towing. What would you tell them as regards doing this, really? Is it some kind of glamorous job where you just get in and you have so much money, you're popular? I mean, it's media now.
I wish it was. Well, I mean, people are making money in media. It depends on the approach you take. If you are willing to take anything, you'll make a lot of money in media. But if you are looking to do things proper the right way, it will take a long time. We've been doing this 10 years and I can't say I'm rich. So if it's media the person is trying to enter, I'll be honest with you, don't. That's what I always tell people, don't. There's a trade I wrote a while back. I said, if you're going to start a media company now, if I was going to start a media company in 2025, I will not start a website or publication. Right? I'll just go where the people are, which is social media. I'll first build an audience first, which is what you see some people doing right now. You first build an audience, then you can now decide later, okay, why do I have this audience? Because of course it's a borrowed audience. The social media can decide to change anything anytime.
True.
So while you have the audience, as you have growing the audience, you start to grab them into your own platforms. Whether it's email or phone number. And then eventually, when you then have the audience, you can now decide, oh, I want a website, or maybe you never need a website, but you don't have them. So yeah, if you're going to start today, don't start a website. Just don't bother. Don't, unless you have deep pockets, don't get a license. I'm serious. Just start online where the audience is and then build from that. Then later you can decide to have a license if you think. Just... I know that sounds like terrible.
I know, but of course I see the wisdom in it. But anyways, in case somebody wants to reach out on social media, are you guys on social media?
Yes, we're on social media. You can TechPoint Africa all across Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TechPoint Africa at TechPoint Africa. You can also follow Business Fronts. There's Business Fronts AF. That's AF after the Business Fronts. Across all social media also. You can also follow all our other publications. Finance in Africa is Finance in Africa AF. Energy in Africa AF. And you can also follow me, Muyiwa on Twitter or Muyiwa Matuluko on LinkedIn.
Did you say Muyiwa?
Muyiwa, M-U-Y-O-S-A-N.
Oh, are you a senior advocate?
No, it comes from anime, watching anime.
Okay, another thing to talk about, but we don't have the time.
We don't have the time.
But it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you.
Same here.
Awesome,
Thanks.
Awesome. And we've been sure thing. We've been speaking to Muyiwa Matuluko, the CEO of Business Front and the publisher of TechPoint Africa. I want to say thank you once again for your deep insights onto the subject matter, yes? My name is George Natural Honor. I'll see you again next week. But just so you know, in case you're also looking to come in here and sit on the seat and let us know what you are about, you're welcome to send an email to marketing@thisisradionow.com. That's marketing@thisisradionow.com. Use the subject Brands Now and someone will reach out to you. Well, we're here just for you. We'll see you again next week. Of course, just so you know, this is Radio Now, 95.3 FM Lagos, and we go beyond the news.